Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome. Getting ready to start the live recording of my podcast. Feel like all the instruments are in check. I think we're in a good spot. This is live streaming from my closet here in New York City. It's Saturday night. Figured I'd do a podcast rather than exposing myself to the elements out there. So, gonna get started here in just a second. Okay. How's it going? Just it's gonna be boring just for a minute as I set up. This is a live stream, but I haven't started recording yet. So whoever is there, bear with me. Hope you're having a great Saturday night. All right. Look at all this wonderful. Got some ties here. This is a cool tie right here. This is Mona Lisa tie, huh? Hey, we got one of these stylish flat bottom ties here. Got two of those. One in maroon. This one. Both of them given to me as groomsmen gifts. Got a skinny tie here, a black skinny tie. I'm telling you, I'm stylish, yo. A couple different belts, and then about 1,000 hats. I got my jeans hanging up. These are dirty jeans because I don't want to put them with the dirty clothes, because once I put them with the dirty clothes, then I feel like I can't wear them again. So I have them hanging up because I've worn them once or twice, and this way I can re-wear them, and they're not completely dirty. They're not completely like ruined with the dirty clothes hampers. It's like the in-between. So yes, I'm weird. What's up, Mom? I saw that you just joined. Mom, you don't have to. I appreciate that you joined, but I feel nervous if you're watching. Because yeah, if that's you, I feel nervous if you're watching. You have to interrupt your Saturday night, Mom, to be on here. But I was just giving the other. I'm not recording the podcast yet. I'm just getting ready, getting warmed up, and I was telling the other person who's on here this wonderful array of clothes that I have in my closet here. So that's always a good time. Yeah. Cool. I'm quarantining myself here from the coronavirus. So that's exciting. All right. I think I'm going to get started. Let's go ahead and rev up the engines. I got this cool. I gave into the gimmick. We've all seen these advertisements online with this back support thing so that you can practice your posture, and that's what I got going on in here. I figure if I'm going to be sitting down for an hour, I may as well put on my back posture apparatus. It's a gimmick. It's $20. I used my HSA to buy the thing because I figure it's for health benefits, and I think it works because it's very uncomfortable. For that, I have to say, I guess I recommend it. I guess I recommend this apparatus. I don't even know what it's called, but we've all seen them online. So, all right, well, we're going to get started. I'm going to close this window. You guys can see me. you'll see me talking. I'll probably forget that I'm even broadcasting live here, but we're going to go ahead and get this one ready to load the chambers to be fired off into the universe. It'll be episode 93 of the Michael Oldroyd Comedy Podcast. Can't believe we're getting close to 100 episodes, but let me save those words for the actual podcast. Somebody else joined, and then they dropped off. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Harnessing my chi with the background music, as you guys can hear. Yes, awesome. I'm not crossing my legs like they do when they meditate normally because that's too uncomfortable for me. So I'm just going to make this happen. Welcome back to the Michael Oldroyd Comedy Podcast, episode 93, son. What up, Shun? That's right. 93 in the house. 93 in the closet, I should say, because I'm recording live from my podcast, live from my closet here in New York City, isolating myself from the coronavirus. Let's give it up for me for being so responsible and quarantining myself, even though I have no symptoms. I guess I'm quarantining myself for different reasons. I don't want to get sick. Some people are making fun of me, thinking that I'm being too stressed out about the virus. Everyone that I talk to that wants to hang out is like, dude, only old people die from the coronavirus, bro. Like, what? Why do you care? I don't know. I don't feel like going to the ICU is one of the reasons that I care. I don't feel like being quarantined for the next several weeks and not being able to live my life if I do get it. So I think that it's a smart thing to try and not get the coronavirus right now. Yeah, I mean, that's what's going on. That's the number one thing going on in the world right now, guys, is this coronavirus outbreak that originated in China. Yeah, it's killed a bunch of people already, mostly the elderly, but it's not fun. It's not fun from what I can see. They just declared the state of New York as a state of emergency today. The mayor of New York, I don't even know his name. What is it? Cuomo? Cuomo is, he made it a state of emergency. So I am quarantining thyself, and luckily I have some black surgeon masks. And I say black rather than the white because I feel like the black mask is more attractive, like the, in the world of ninjas, it makes me feel like a ninja. And I don't know if there was a girl wearing a white mask or a black mask. If she was wearing a black mask, I think it would be more attractive. So that's why I got these black masks a few years ago when I was in Japan, of all places. And I was with friends. We actually ate dinner at this ninja restaurant, it's hard to explain, but it was really fun, really cool, themed. One of those really nice experiences that I look back on and appreciate. But I didn't wear the ninja mask because it's not a ninja mask. It's a surgeon medical mask. I didn't want to embarrass my friends. It's really because I'm unselfish, But now I wore this mask out into the world. I went to go do comedy Wednesday night, and I wore the mask into the world, and people were staring at me. And I could tell that they were looking at me and they were jealous. I could tell that they were like, you know what? Even though that guy looks weird and uncool, I'm secretly jealous of his style because he's confident and he's practical. He's smart. And I wanted, you know what I said with my eyes back to them? Nonverbal. All this communication took place nonverbal. My eyes back to them said, hey, I know you can do it as well. Hey, I know you can find the confidence within yourself to put on one of these masks and do the right thing for your health, bro. So that's what I did, baby. That's what I did, and I'm proud of it. And then I pulled out a samurai sword and I chopped some bread. That's a callback to a John Belushi sketch from Saturday Night Live several years ago. Very humorous. Going to Japan was great. I wish they would have let me carry samurai swords as carry-on to the plane, but unfortunately they don't do that. So I don't know. Like I think when I'm making these comedy sketches, I think it'd be funny for every sketch to end with the main character just stabbing themselves in the stomach as a samurai. Do you guys think that'd be humorous? Okay, nobody else. Okay, just me. Okay, let's move on from that. Okay. Great. This was fun. Anyway, I got my black masks. I've got my African American masks, and we're ready to go. So. That's what's going on. I'm feeling healthy as an ox. I went to the one of the, what do they call it, city MDs today, trying to get a flu shot. I still haven't gotten a flu shot, but I figure maybe I'll reduce my risk by getting a flu shot. And I'll be darned, when I went in to talk to these fools, they told me they can't guarantee whether or not my insurance covers the flu shot. And I'm so cheap, I walked out on them. I showed them. I said, hey, if you can't guarantee that my insurance covers this, I'm out of here. All right. And that was the end of the interaction. I wanted to pull out my samurai sword and just stab myself in the stomach just to show them what an inconvenience they created for me, you know? And you'd be like, hey, yeah, you guys got to clean up this mess now. Yeah. Joke's on you, huh? All right. That's so stupid. Anyway, yeah, so the coronavirus started. And it's spreading there. I think last time that we checked yesterday, it was like 44 cases or something. A bunch of people are going in. All right, so that's where we are. It's scary. Don't go to China. Guys, don't go to China. I don't even think you can right now, but I recommend not going to China either way. When I went to China, I got held hostage. There's just a bunch of bad stuff there, you know? Yeah. First lesson in not getting held hostage, don't go to China. First lesson in preventing coronavirus, don't go to China. My mom and dad went to China in January, and thank God they didn't get sick at that time. My mom did. She caught some sort of a flu, and they tested her, thank goodness, in St. Louis, and everything was okay. She was sick for a little bit, but it wasn't the coronavirus. So we got lucky. And yeah, that's that. Mom, I don't know if you're still there watching me. I told you you didn't need to watch because I was embarrassed. I don't know if you're still there secretly watching though. I'm talking about YouTube Live. I'm broadcasting this on YouTube Live. Who knows if I'll ever post it, but for the people that are staying home on this Saturday night, quarantining themselves from the coronavirus, and they want to see something unique and different, this is for you, my loves. Okay? So that's where we are. Can you guys imagine how bad it would suck to be quarantined, though? I mean, there's some people coming back from cruise ships, and they have to literally be like isolated for a couple weeks. I can't imagine that, you know? I can't imagine that. I don't know. I mean, what are you supposed to do if you get horny, you know? All right. Anyway, can you be quarantined with people that you love, like a significant other? I mean, geez. I mean, for the sake of Zeus, right? All right. I feel like this whole quarantining thing, and it's getting to the point where schools are prepared to shut down and do lesson plans virtually, like over the internet. And businesses, travel is being, different airlines. I feel like it's forcing people to have, to come up with backup plans if they don't already, to be able to be productive virtually. Now, I worked from home for several years, and I work from home still. So I'm kind of ahead of the curve on that, but I feel like this might be creating progress in a roundabout sense, such that people, businesses, schools, everyone is forced to kind of figure out how to make it work as best as they can, work out the bugs, no pun intended, to become more and more of a virtual world. So in that way, maybe it is progress. Maybe more people can live the life that Michael Oldroyd lives in his robe all day, raking in the dough and, creating humor. I don't know. I wouldn't say I rake in the dough currently. but I am doing what I love. There's a trade-off. Sometimes you do what you love and you do get to rake in the dough. That's what I'm working on, is shifting revenue streams. It's quite a conundrum. All right. So if anyone wants to donate money to Droid Entertainment, I still haven't made my Patreon page, but feel free to help fund me. We could call this a crowdfunding deal. You're welcome to donate to I know there's a lot better donate. There's a lot better donate. What am I trying? There are a lot of charities out there. This is not a charity. This is a for-profit business. You guys can donate to my for-profit business, but there are a lot of charities out there that need the money more than me, that are a great cause. So not to shoot myself in the sternum by saying this, but St. Jude, I love that charity. Sometimes I donate to St. Jude when I could use money myself. It's kind of weird. What am I doing, huh? New York is expensive, bruh. I could retire, in a place where you can't pursue comedy, or I could pursue comedy and potentially lose all my money. It's a wonderful problem. It's a very I could go somewhere and not be productive and retire, or I could run out of money in 2 months in New York. So choice is mine, right? Great stuff, great problems in life, the conundrums that we all face every day, right? But at least I have my health, family, healthy bowel movements, the ability to create humor. Those are the things that stand the test of time. Those are the things that matter more than any amount of money. And we're going to talk about the stock market and how it's taken a nice plunge the last couple weeks here in a second. But right now I'm getting loose. I'm flexing my muscles for the viewers on YouTube 360 Live, whatever it is. I no longer. I used to have nice pecs because I was young and I worked out so much. Now there's no crease between my pecs. It sucks. It's embarrassing. But you know what? I'm confident in who I am as a man, and I will not be defined by my external vessel. I will not be defined by my physical attributes. I will be defined by the choices I make. According to Dumbledore, that's really what defines us, is the choices we make. Right? Martin Luther King had a dream that we would be judged based on the content of our character. And how do you define character? Well, it's defined based on the decisions that we make, right? So the decision to pursue comedy and potentially lose all my money, I'd say that's pretty valiant, huh? Hey, is it cool to go around and tell people, hey, I'm pretty valiant, guys. Hey, how's it going? I'm valiant. Huh? Hey, how you doing? I'm valiant. I'm pursuing comedy. Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, so what did I want to say? We talked about the cruise ships and us becoming more of a virtual world. Don't let fear win. Fear is the enemy. According to a movie I saw last night, Harriet. Have you guys seen the movie Harriet Tubman? She talked about how fear is the enemy. And I actually completely agree with that. There's two ends of the spectrum. Let's get real deep on you guys. Ready? There's fear and love. And Harriet Tubman faced her fears, and that's why she prevailed and adopted the nickname of Moses, which is pretty badass, guys. You guys know Harriet Tubman. She's a hero. And the movie was inspiring. And I say don't let the fear win, because you got to be educated. Fear can be useful if you let it guide you properly, but do not let fear win, right? Do not let fear win. You better Harriet Tubman this freaking coronavirus by not being too afraid of it, right? But be smart, be educated. Just don't let I feel like scammers can prey on people's fear. That's what happened to me when I was in China, right? These guys held me hostage and made me pay a bunch of money, and they preyed on the fear that was created and the unknown. The unknown can be scary, right? When you're surfing, you don't know what sharks are beneath the water, if there are or aren't, So you create these things in your head, oftentimes, that make it, worse than what actual reality is. Sharks are actually very afraid. They close their eyes when they bite something because they're afraid that their eyes are going to get damaged. If that ain't the most soft-ass bullshit I've ever heard of, right? One thing when we played football is you don't close your eyes when you hit. You keep those eyes open. You don't blink when you make a hit. You tackle through that fool, Fear is not a factor, bruh, So don't close your eyes, you freaking wuss. That's what I say to the sharks. All right. Anyway, the point of it all and how it applies to the coronavirus is don't overdo it by going out and wearing black Japanese face masks everywhere. Everywhere you go and quarantining yourself into a closet. And rather than going out and doing comedy, you decide to do a podcast for the night. Don't do what I'm doing is what I'm trying to say here, guys. All right. Anyway, I'm getting hot. This apparatus that holds my back up, this gimmick thing, is tight on my. It's very taut about my abraxas with my robe, and I'm starting to sweat here in this closet. I need to get some ice cubes and cool myself down. By the way, I don't know what ice cubes do in bed. I remember in Billy Madison, he talked about ice cubes with Veronica Vaughn. Can somebody please out there tell me what the ice cubes are supposed to do in bed with Veronica Vaughn? I don't understand that whole ice cube thing. Maybe I could Google that, but I'd rather it come from somebody. I like that human interaction, you know? Anyway. Let's move on. They have canceled South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. I saw that. It's a big music festival, so that's unfortunate. It is getting worse. So again, be educated, but don't just let your fear run rampant. Educate yourself so you can decipher between what's real and what's not, and then make appropriate decisions. You know, yeah. They say wash your hands. This podcast is turning into an education right now. They say wash your hands vigorously and regularly. Okay, use a little bit of antibacterial soap. Okay. Apparently, the whole mask thing isn't even supposed to be used. So they're actually recommending not to wear the masks for some reason. But I like the fashion statement. I like to look like a Caucasian ninja, right? Because samurai. Hey, Tom Cruise was a Caucasian ninja, right? All right, let's move on, guys. Huh? What do you say we move on to the next topic? Because I've been talking about nothing for 16 minutes, and I'm liking it. I don't know if you guys are liking it as much as I'm liking doing this right now, but I'm enjoying talking about absolutely nothing. Well, it is something. The coronavirus does matter, but I don't think you guys needed to hear 16 minutes of me talking about it. If you got entertainment value from it, then that's what matters. Let's talk about the stock market. All right. So the stock market 2 weeks ago, it's always good to enter a new topic by stumbling on your words. You know, that really draws the listeners in and makes them, focused on what you're talking about, right? The stock market took a plunge 2 weeks ago. By the way, I'm recording right now. It's Saturday, March 7th, to give you a perspective, and this will be released Monday morning, the 9th. So anyway, 2 weeks ago, stock market really plunged. A lot of fears, coronavirus was affecting businesses and just a ton of stuff. Took a huge downturn, a bear, if you will, right? This last week, the stock market went up a couple of days. It went down a couple of days. It was really volatile, but it kind of stayed the same overall. Like the end of the week was about the same as what it was at the very beginning of the week, with a lot of volatility in between, much like the relationship I have with my ex-girlfriend, Jessica. A very volatile situation there. Just constant magma flowing beneath the surface where volcanic lava comes out randomly for no reason at times, and then settles and cools off, and then that's how mountains and islands get formed. So a lot of people can, if you have the wherewithal financially, big words, if you have enough poker chips in the game, or that you're holding onto that aren't invested yet, people will use opportunities when the market goes down to buy in, so that when it goes back up, that's how you reap the gains. The problem is a lot of people don't have a ton of extra cash, so when the market goes down and they need immediate funds, they sell out of fear that they're going to lose all their money, and they end up getting screwed over. So that's how you let fear win, basically. Do not let fear win. Hold on. I've lost thousands of dollars in the week, and I didn't even blink an eye that first week, and I just let my financial advisor do what he does. Hey, okay, cool. I don't care. I trust you. I'm invested for the long term, guys. Fear is not a factor for me. It doesn't mean that I don't have any fears, but I have very little fear. I've faced most of them. You know? Gone skydiving, surfing with the sharks, you know, running around on the football field, getting the shit knocked out of me. I think I have CTE, but you know what? I don't regret it. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about this next thing. Interest rates were dropped. The federal government decided this week that they were going to drop the interest rates by 0.5%. So for those of you who want to go buy a house and you have the money, hey, you got a little extra deal there going on. Hey-o. Didn't really do much. The stock market continued to drop after they lowered the interest rate. So whatever, you know, all that does is it's good for buying stuff, but it's bad if you have a lot of money invested in bonds or if you like to lend money, stuff, you know, interest rates. There's always two sides to the story, right? So what I mean by that is, again, like I have money that's liquid right now, so I have it in savings accounts where I want the interest rate to be as high as possible, right? So it's all how you're moving stuff around and whatnot, where you're moving your money to, what the deal is. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to have to explain this. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Is anyone still watching or listening? I don't. Is anybody actually still tuned in? All right. We got about 2 more hours of this shit. All right. No. What I can tell you is I'm having a fun. So again, let's talk about this. If you have money, either now is the time to invest while the market's down, or don't, because we might not be at the bottom yet. It's like an anchor, right? You wanna buy when that anchor hits the bottom of the ocean when you got a boat, but you don't know when it's the bottom. That's the scary thing, because you don't know if you buy in now, is the market going to drop more? You never really know, you know. I mean, because if you buy now, you don't know if it's going to keep going. I think I just said that. CTE. All right. No, if you don't buy now, if you do buy some stocks now, what happens if the corona outbreak hits another? It just doubles every couple days. You know, what if it continues to go on? The markets, everything's going to be affected by it. So, you know, where do you let that practicality measure? Where is the intersection point between what's practical versus what the fear/love Venn diagram? You know, you got to do some charts here. Is what I'm trying to say, huh? You got to create a couple charts here and make some, what do they call it? Critical, analytical thinking. You got to apply, what do they call it? I can't even think of the word for thinking. They use it in college. It's a term for like deep thinking. I can't even do it anymore. I'm too lazy. All right, let's talk about this, guys. TikTok girl. There's a girl on TikTok right now. She's in college and she's got a bunch of followers because she does the stock market while she's in class. Have you guys heard of this chick? I actually had an interaction with her. We had some DMing going back and forth on TikTok. People were making fun of her, saying she has no idea what she's talking about. Anyone that listens to her advice is going to get in trouble. You know, she's spewing out stuff that she's not educated on. What's her name? It's Taylor Price. She has 58,000 followers on TikTok now. And she's giving out all these lessons about how to make all this passive income. And she basically sits around in a robe all day and makes these TikTok videos about the stock market. And she's cute too. So that's intriguing. This is how her and I are different in the way that don't be an idiot, guys. All right. It's educate yourself. I haven't looked at her stuff enough to know. Her handle is @priceless Tay. So priceless Tay, @priceless Tay, because her name's Taylor. Maybe her fundamentals work. I don't know how much she does or doesn't know, but some of the videos that she initially posted that people were making fun of just showed how much she didn't know at the time, but maybe she's really studied and put a lot of work into this. So I don't know. 58,000 followers on TikTok. Isn't that what it's about, huh? TikTok. You know, if you're on TikTok and you got some followers and you're 2020, you know, if you're really doing well in 2020, you know, that's what it's all about in 2020 is your TikTok following. I got 25 followers. Nobody cares, you know. Nobody cares about my TikTok. Feel free to follow me. No big deal. It's at the droid, you know. So that's that. Just educate yourself. Nothing is too good to be true. Or most things. There's no easy way to get anywhere. You're gonna have to study. You're gonna have to take risks. Learn from your mistakes. No matter what it is that you do, there's no easy way. TikTok is not the easy way. So that's that. That's what I say. Yeah. So anyway, what else is going on in the world? This is my going on in the world segment. So let's keep it going. We got Bloomberg and Biden teaming up now. Did you guys watch any of the political debates? Yeah, I watched a little bit. I saw Mike Bloomberg being teamed up on people attacking him, right? For his stop and frisk, for his NDA agreements that he has had with multiple women. I mean, they really got to the crux there, huh? They really attacked him. And is it Elizabeth Warren that was saying, are you going to release some of these women that were on the other side of the NDA and let them speak freely at this time to have complete transparency? That's it's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought. What I will say is maybe those NDAs were protecting both parties. You never know. It's not as simple as that, Elizabeth Warren. I'm not if there was some bad behavior taking place, I absolutely condemn that. I don't condone. I think condone is when you support. I don't condone taking advantage of people or anything like that. What I will say is it's not as simple. An NDA is a two-party agreement where there's a quid pro quo, and when someone does sign that, it protects both parties involved. So it is a two-party agreement. One party can't decide to to end that agreement. So Elizabeth Warren, nice earlobes is what I'm trying to say. No, she's a fighter. I don't know much about her. I don't know much about any of these candidates, to be honest. All I know is that Elizabeth Warren is a fighter. She's got some big earlobes. I'm surprised Trump doesn't call her Dumbo because he's a bully and a jerk. And he's got a nickname for everybody. And Pete Buttigieg, huh? Ew, that guy's he seems like the sharpest tack in the room because he's the youngest. But his top teeth are a different color than his bottom teeth. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I don't like that. It means that he's trying too hard to focus on the external image there. You missed a spot there. And by spot, I mean your entire bottom teeth, Pete Buttigieg. But he dropped out. So Mike Bloomberg dropped down. He's supporting Biden now. Biden, everybody's uncle at Thanksgiving, right? The uncle that doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's kind of silly and crazy, kind of like myself, like the uncle that had CTE from high school football, maybe even a little college if he was lucky, and says these off-color jokes, and everyone just kind of laughs to appease him and not be rude, but he's off in his own universe, Maybe Biden should start a podcast, call it the Joe Biden Comedy Podcast. I don't know. I'm not trying to compare myself to him. I don't know anything about the guy other than he seems like a putz, They all do, all the politicians out here. I've never heard so much self-promotion. I watched the debate. I wanted to gag. I was, I was about to throw up listening to everyone talk about how good they are and what they've done. Is that what the world is coming to, guys? Jeez, Trump has started a trend that everyone is jumping onto. They're jumping on the bandwagon of self-promotion. It's bad, It's bad. There was some tweets going back and forth between Trump and Mike Bloomberg after Bloomberg dropped out. I guess Mike used a Star Wars gif about, they were fighting, like a Jedi fighting the Sith. I think that was kind of the point he was trying to convey. He was Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. He used one of those gifs, right? Yeah, which I like. I like that. It's symbolic, whatever. I get it. I get what you're doing. And Trump responded back with another gif where Mike was holding a. And this topic is not a joke, but what I'm about to say is only for the Star Wars nerds like myself. I've become one. I was a jock and a geek, guys. I'm a double whammy, is what I like to call it. This is the thing: is Trump responded back with a gif where Mike was holding a green lightsaber. Now, let me explain something to you. What Trump is doing there, whether he realizes it or not, is he's admitting to be the Sith. He's admitting to be on the dark side, because you're not gonna. Jedis have the lighter the color, like the yellows, the greens, the blues. Those are all the light in Star Wars, but the dark side is when the colors start shifting to the purples and the reds, right? When it's those darker colors, the purples, the violets, and the reds. The red is the furthest on the dark side. It's a spectrum of colors, right? So Trump didn't realize, but he's admitting to being on the dark side with his response. So I don't know if you believe in symbolism or if you think it's just a bunch of hogwash and you think it's BS and you think, Mike, wow, you've really thought about this. I didn't think about it much, to be honest. I just it's a fact that I know, So what I'm trying to say is watch out for Trump. Be careful. I don't know for sure, but the dude just the way he talks to people, the way he talks to people really makes me nervous. It shows lack of respect for human beings and life. That's what makes me nervous. Policy aside, I don't know anything about policy, but has nothing to do with fake news, has nothing to do with anything. I'm not a liberal, I'm not a Democrat. I'm off the grid. I believe in freedom. That's my politics, and my religion is love. I'm off the grid with religion. I'm off the grid with politics. I'm in a category of my own. Right, I'm just the phantom behind the opera, and I just I see the whole spectrum, see the whole spectrum, and I don't like people that don't respect other people. So anyway, let's move on before you guys get bored. That's not what this is about. Let's spice it up and go dun 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 dun. So that we can kind of keep a little something creative. Get the volume levels. Get your eardrums stimulated. Let's get those eardrums stimulated, guys, just so that you're still engaged here. All right. All right. Yeah. So scary stuff, guys. Not really. I don't know why I call it scary. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm isolated here in my closet. Who gives a shite? What did I want to say? So I haven't done a worldly update in a couple weeks, but just so you know, the State of the Union happened a few weeks ago, and Trump got acquitted of the charges for being impeached. So he's not going to be impeached, as you guys probably already know, because it's old news. But I do want to say one last thing about Trump before I go, even though it's terrible to talk about politics or religion, and I seem to just zone in on those the older I get, even though I'm not. I don't give a shit. I'm off the grid. The last thing I did want to say though is when it comes to the whole disrespecting people, did you see his rally in Colorado where he was talking about the Oscars and Brad Pitt a few weeks ago? He was actually hating. So the film that got Best Picture is Parasite. It's a foreign film. It was made in South Korea. I've seen it, and I thought it was interesting. First half of the movie was like a comedy. I was laughing the whole time, and then the second half turned into this dark, drama. So I didn't like how it switched. That was my only comment on the movie. Is I think they should have just picked one, but it kind of flipped halfway through. It's what is the? Why are we flipping genres here? I like consistency, I guess you could say. But Trump was he was hating on the Oscars. He was like, he wasn't hating on the Oscars specifically. I think he was just hating on the fact that we allowed a foreign film to become Best Picture. And he was like, well, what are you talking about? He was hating on Parasite and everybody. The fact that they got Best Picture because it's not an American-made film. He was saying that they should have won Best Foreign Film, right? Which, well, hey, they made a great film, you know? They made a better film, apparently, than whoever the judges are, you know, whatever. So get over it, Trump. Whatever. You know, it is what it is, right? But he was hating on Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt spoke out against Trump in his speech. This goes back to the impeachment thing because it was a couple weeks ago. I guess Pitt, a Missouri boy, used his platform and his opportunity to speak to kind of give subliminal. He didn't directly call it out, but it was a political speech because he was talking about how he had 45 seconds to accept his award, and he's like, that's 45 more seconds than John Bolton got, right? John Bolton is the dude who had some like a book coming out and all this stuff, evidence and all this stuff. If he would have testified, it could have changed the outcome of the impeachment trial and all this stuff. And they shut John Bolton up basically. You know, they didn't let him testify and all this stuff. So Brad Pitt was saying that that's wrong, that we didn't let him speak, right? He's basically saying he doesn't like Trump. And so Trump, of course, fires back. It's like, oh, Brad Pitt, yeah, he's a wise guy. What a wise guy. Yeah, I never liked his movies. It's like he'll just throw anybody under the bus immediately as soon as they say anything negative about him, which is the sign of a real winner, guys. You know, somebody that can't take any shots at their ego, right? Always a good sign of a good world leader when their ego is like a piece of glass that will shatter at the slightest jars, right? So it is what it is. That's where we are. That's our president, guys. Just an egomaniac is what I would call him. An egomaniac. So, you guys been paying attention to the XFL? Anybody have a boner over the XFL? Because I do. It's not the NFL, but it's something, right? And I have been getting back in shape. So as you guys know, back in December, I rolled my ankle and I had to take 8 weeks off. And the last couple of weeks, I've started getting strong again. Can't see it in my pecs right now for those of you who are watching, but believe it or not, my pecs looked worse a few weeks ago, which is actually disturbing and sad. And I'm embarrassed to admit it, but it's the truth. The pecs are starting to get stronger. You know, when I was younger, I used to be able to hold a pencil between my pecs. That's how strong and big and robust my pectoralis majors were. I could flex and hold a pencil between my tits. So now the only way for me to do that is if I got breast implants, and I'm not planning on doing that. All right, just trying to get strong again, and we'll see what happens. I think by the time I am in any type of shape, this season will be over for the XFL, but who knows, maybe I can give another stab at the Giants, huh? Hey, I don't know. I'm getting older, guys. I'm 33 now. The year that Jesus was when he, Jesus was 33 when he passed away. So I don't know why I just said that. I don't have any connection to that. I hope him and I don't share the same fate in that way. I don't want to get the coronavirus, and that'd be unfortunate, you know. Anyway, I'd rather be like Jesus in other ways, not just have the overlap of our Venn diagram be that we happen to die in the same year. Yeah, that'd be unfortunate. I'm enjoying life. So anyway, let's move on. What a weird little ditty that was. All right, Ricky Prohl's son plays in the XFL, so that's pretty cool. St. Louis has got a team. I watched the game between New York and St. Louis, and they were playing in the Dome, bruh. They were playing in the Dome. Got some history there. Got to see, my old stomping grounds. I used to watch Rams games there. When we went to the state championship in high school, we played in the Dome. That was my first time in there, and then got to dress out for a game when I was at Mizzou, between Mizzou and the Fighting Illini back when we used to play that. And that was Jeremy Macklin's breakout game back in 2007. Back when my butt was 3 times bigger than it is now, and I could hold a pencil between my tits. So it was cool to see that. St. Louis seems to be enjoying that team. I like that St. Louis has a football team now. It's a pro football team, you putzes. So that's pretty cool. And that's that. Last worldly update that I wanted to give out to you before I move on to the comedy world is that somebody recently returned poop on Amazon. If I'm not mistaken, it was somebody who bought diapers, used the diapers, and then returned them to Amazon after the. I don't know if it was a joke or what, but you guys might want to Google that one, because that is a doozy. I mean, God, if they got their money back, I'm jealous. I'd like to do the same. I'd like to return that. I'd like to do the same stunt if they got their money back. But anyway, what's going on in the comedy world? Where I already talked about the Oscars, and yes, it is old news, but some of the movies that I've seen and I'll quickly comment on are The Joker. Obviously, I saw Parasite, right? I mentioned that already. Mr. Rogers, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Harriet. So quickly, I do have to say, I want to just quickly, well, The Joker, we've already talked about that in a previous podcast. Dark flick, very interesting. I'll talk about that in a second because I enjoyed his speech. But Mr. Rogers, very inspirational. Tom Hanks played this role. Loved the movie. I felt uplifted afterwards. I felt warm. I felt excited. It made me attracted to Mr. Rogers as a person, asexually, which means non-sexual for those of you who don't know what asexual is. But I was asexually attracted to Mr. Rogers after watching the movie. That's what it's about, is seeing the best in everybody, giving love, doing the best you can, and yeah, it was a tearjerker. What else? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio. So yeah, I thought it was cool. Brad Pitt got the Oscar for Best Supporting. I thought it was very humble of him to say that he'll ride Leo's coattails any day. That was a very humble thing to say and a big compliment to Leo. So I liked that. It was cool to see Brad Pitt cry when he accepted the speech. It showed that he really gave a shit, and he talked about his roots and how his parents took him to the drive-in movies and how it all started back in Missouri. And he was a Mizzou boy, he was in a frat at Mizzou and performed at Jesse Hall during homecoming, just like yours truly. And by golly, Brad Pitt was a fellow that people appreciated. He was a popular kid back in Cali. So, and by Cali I mean college, not Cali. So yeah, it's cool to see Brad Pitt take one home there. I thought it was an interesting movie. I mean, Margot Robbie was in it, tearing it up, looking beautiful. She's not my type, though, to be honest. I mean, if she was hitting on me, I would absolutely say yes. I'd like to mix it up with her. But I don't know. There's other actresses that I've had bigger crushes on in the past. Kate Beckinsale. I liked a lot. Marissa Tomei at one point. I really liked her a lot. Who's Penelope Cruz, right? I liked her when I was younger a lot. Whatever, who cares? My mom thinks I'm going to end up marrying a brunette. Well, she also thinks I'm going to marry Taylor Swift, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. What else, guys? Joaquin Phoenix got the Joker. His speech was awesome. It was the most interesting to me. It made me laugh. But it was also deep, and I thought he hit the nail on the head. He wasn't trying to pose. One thing I don't like is when people care so much about their image that you don't know if they're saying what they really think or not. And I want to always promise to myself and to all of you to keep it real. I know it's easier said than done, or it is easier said than done. A lot of these people have different pressures on them, but I guess people like people that just keep it real. right? It's attractive because you're not letting external pressures get in the way of your true voice. And Joaquin Phoenix really, he said two things that really stuck with me. And I don't remember most of the other speeches, but other than that the Parasite guy kept on saying, "I'm going to drink." That was funny. He kept on accepting the award and saying he's got to get drunk. So that was funny and humble. But anyway, Joaquin was talking about how we take the milk from cows that's intended for the calf, and we take the cows away from their babies, even though we can hear them screaming in agony and all this stuff. And we take that milk that's intended for the calf and we put it in our cereal and our milk and all this stuff. That's just a funny thing to say of all the things he could say, but he was making a deeper point. He was using, at first it was like, where is this coming from? But he was making a much bigger, he was using that as an example to make a much bigger point, which really was that he thinks that humans care too much about conquering things and owning things that aren't theirs to own, when we should be focused on love and let love be the guiding principle. And when we let love be what guides us, we can come up with some really miraculous things as a group, you know. And I never heard him talk about his brother River Phoenix before, but he used a quote that his brother said to summarize that entire thing. It was really beautiful. It was touching, and you know, it really came from the heart. So he definitely did a best actor. You know, he was definitely deserving of the best actor for the Joker, and then his speech was also deserving of the best speech of the night, in my opinion. And then there was this YouTube video that came out where the next day after the whole thing, he actually went and met these guys that met with this company, I guess, that slaughters cows and uses them for their milk, and he saved a cow. He saved, I think, a cow in one of the calves of that cow, and rescued it, and it was meaningful. It was kind of cool. It was really cool to watch him practice what he preached, you know, right? A lot of people will say stuff because they think it sounds good, but then they'll just kind of move on, you know, because they want to look cool. But Joaquin followed through with it, and the very next day, after winning as big of an award as you can get, he's out there practicing what he's preaching. So Joaquin Rafael Phoenix, living up to the great name of Raphael there, my favorite Ninja Turtle, even though I'm Michelangelo. Loved it, man. Just want to see you whip out those size one time, bro. Just whip out those size, you know. Put on that red bandana and show us who you really are, bro. All right? Nobody plays a better villain than Joaquin Phoenix. Now, two movies where he's really done that. The Joker, and then obviously my favorite movie of all, Gladiator. So anyway, what do we got? Hey, my mom watched The Joker. I didn't want to fully recommend it because it's such a dark movie, but she watched it, and I was nervous because you know, there's a couple parallels between this version of the Joker and myself. Like, he's an aspiring comedian, you know, that's not getting a ton of traction. It is what it is. And he's performed at Dangerfields, and I've also performed at Dangerfields. And luckily, I've never bombed the way he did at Dangerfields, and I don't have a problem laughing uncontrollably. You know what? Every once in a while, when do you guys ever do this? When something happens that you know you're not like, now would be the worst time to laugh, do you get the urge to laugh? Because sometimes I get like if someone tells me something like that, I know, like, wow, if I laughed right now, this would be like the most rude and disrespectful thing I could possibly do. Like, there's this weird trigger in my mind there. All right, let's move on. Anyway, yeah, I'm not the Joker. You know, but it is good to see that spectrum. You know, the difference between him and the Batman. Speaking of the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix and another person who's done an amazing job with that character was Heath Ledger. And one of my friends today posted a quote that I loved by Heath Ledger. It was Drew Schafring, older brother of my great friend Tyler Schafring. Shout out to you, Tyler. This is my way of finding out if you're actually listening to my podcast, because if you aren't, you're never going to say anything about this. But if you are, by golly, that means that you're listening, and I love you for it. By Zeus. Gah! That barks for you. Anyway, Drew said, everyone, and this is a quote from, so I found this, this is a quote from Heath Ledger. It says, everyone you meet always asks if you have a career. Are you married, or do you own a house? As if life is some kind of a grocery list. But no one ever asks you if you're happy. So I think that that's a great thing to remind us all, which is don't be worried about this grocery list, you frickin' putzes. Worry about doing what makes you happy. You have one life to live. Unless we get reincarnated like they do in that show Altered Carbon. I don't know if you guys checked that on Netflix, but I binged it all in one day because I'm a full-time comedian, which means I have some time to watch stuff like that and fill my brain with nonsense. I will say it was stimulating, though. So Altered Carbon, it's about how they figured out a way in the future to extract the soul and put it in any body over time, because it's like a little chip, like in the Matrix, where your soul is like in this little chip, and you can just plug it in like a flash drive to a different body. Which essentially means that you never die, right? So you only live one life unless somehow technology catches up to Altered Carbon. Anyway, I haven't seen 1917 yet. I want to see it. I haven't seen Ford versus Ferrari. I want to see that. Harriet Tubman, awesome movie, inspiring. Reminded me of the Mr. Rogers movie in the way that it was about two people that were vigilant in their own ways and heroes. In my opinion. Shout out to Harriet. We just finished Black History Month, but I think that was a good way for me to cap off that month and have a couple minutes to think deeply about the good that she had created. It's an inspiration that can be applied to always pushing forward with progress. There's always room to grow as a people in the different categories, not just race, but always pushing forward to do what you believe is right, regardless of that fear of consequences, right? At one point, I think she said in the movie, she had the choice between liberty or life. I forget which one it was, but she was willing to die in order to have liberty, and just an amazing woman. So have you guys seen any other shows? Speaking of all this TV stuff, the new Pope, been watching that. Hunters, I watched that entire thing about after World War II, like a few decades after, here in New York, they made this show up about these Nazi hunters, right? In a world where Nazis still existed and they were going around hunting them and all this stuff. It's kind of superhero-like, speaking of heroes, but the hero doesn't kill, though, right? So there's kind of a weird fine line there between all that, killing, revenge, things like that. So interesting show. Alfred James Pacino, really pulled us in right there. I was captivated. These shows won't let you stop once you start. It's not very nice of these Hollywood writers though to leave everything as a cliffhanger. It makes you can't like go on with your life without watching the rest of them. So I don't know why I start new shows knowing that I won't be able to stop. You watch one episode, it's just the tip. You can't stop once you do it. Once you start, you can't stop. So why start, right? But what else is going on? Morgan Freeman is now in season 3 of The Story of God. That's the one I really want to check out. I've been meaning to check that out. And speaking of that, Michelangelo's birthday was yesterday. He would have been 545 years old. Maybe I'm Michelangelo returned, from this show Altered Carbon. Maybe his soul was just reimplanted into my body. Michelangelo droid, Hey. Anyway, no, it's good stuff. Hey. So happy birthday to Michelangelo, the divine craftsman. What a great bunch of artwork that guy did. in his days. Solid goatee as well. Shout out. All right, let's move on. So many options to watch on Netflix these days and all the streaming apps. Too many options, right? There's too much to choose from. Got sensory overload, guys. How do you choose? It's like the Cheesecake Factory. You see that menu when you go there, you just want to like, too much to absorb, you know? It's like when you have so many options, you just look at the waiter and you're like, hey, you got any recommendations? You know, you tell me what I should get, you know? I don't know what they get. That's what happens when you have too many options. You can't decide. You're just like, you tell me, okay? All right, let's move on. Speaking of all these TV shows, I've been moving forward with my acting career. Midwest Sketch Bandits just released a new sketch today. It was a sketch kind of like a Bruno type character, a new character that I played in this. Silly. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. We got another one coming out soon. We've been writing. We've got a bunch of stuff in the chamber that we're ready to film. So that's been going well. Our IMDb page is updated. My IMDb page is updated. Humble brag, right? Not to pull a Donald Trump and brag about myself, but I do that sometimes. I'm aware that sometimes I'm a little egotistical and narcissistic, or come off to be that way from time to time, and I apologize for that to myself and to you guys. But I also do care about people. I do care about people. And I'm willing to be notified anytime that I have room to grow on that. If I've ever wronged you or been disrespectful, I'd like to address that and rectify that and talk about it. I can't claim to be perfect, so that's the difference between me and a Donald Trump is I'd like to address this and make it better. I think it's disrespectful if someone feels wrong to just say it for the first time 10 years from now when I'm famous rather than telling me now. Let's talk about it now. I'd love to get stuff on the table and work it out, and maybe we'll have some intercourse afterwards. No pressure, maybe that's what will make you feel better. I don't know. So just let me know. Let's figure this out. Let's get to the bottom of it. What else is going on? I got some agents that I've been talking to. I'm working with here, commercial, modeling, whatever. No big deal. Just a little modeling action. This vessel's pretty, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, the whole acting thing is I'm getting traction. This Midwest Sketch Bandit stuff has been really helping out. And the headshots that I took with my old roommate, whatever. It's been a positive thing. So been getting traction, going on a couple auditions through these agents lately. I haven't landed anything big, but I did audition for an LG commercial recently, which is pretty cool, which would have been a good pay. I don't know if they've made their decision or not, but I didn't feel great about the audition itself. But I guess anything's possible. They could still choose me, and that'd be awesome. So that's going on. What else? We got our next film with the Midwest Sketch Bandits is coming out. We did some guerrilla style filming there. We went into Target and we started filming, and they started to kick us out. We had to get the footage before they kicked us out of the store. So that was pretty exciting. And stand-up's going just fine. I got on stage a handful of times this week. Had a good couple sets. And Wednesday was a good night for comedy as well. The night that I went out with my black mask, filming stuff on the Black Magic camera. That's the camera that we use for our sketches. What else? Thinking about going back to St. Louis for a bachelor party in late April. So if you live in St. Louis, I'm thinking about putting on a big show there. For the first time. I did one in Kansas City a few years back in 2014 before I moved to New York. So I'm thinking about putting one on in St. Louis at the end of next month. Waiting for some confirmation on the venue. But that'd be a lot of fun for me and for my friends. So keep an eye out for that. I think it'd probably be like April 24th, Friday night in St. Louis. So mark your calendars now as tentative for that if you don't mind. And maybe we can, give each other a kiss. All right. So that's really all that's going on in the comedy world. I don't know if you guys have seen Saturday Night Live lately. I haven't had a chance to check it out. I saw Pete Davidson's got a new comedy special on Netflix. But yeah, I mean, not a ton. Comedy. Speaking of comedy specials, what's his name? Shit. I'm having a brain fart right now. There's a guy who had a comedy special come out recently. I'll come back to that. Anyway, Kyle Ayers, by the way, I don't know if you guys know Kyle, my friend Kyle. He was on episode 30-something with me here. We started in college doing stand-up. We went to school together, and he was on Conan recently. He had his national debut like a month or two ago, and I've been meaning to mention that and give him a congratulations. Feel free to go back and listen to our podcast together and hear our story, but it was exciting to see him perform on Conan. It was exciting to see one of our friends in the crowd, and he's a good guy. He deserves success, and I was really happy to see him get that opportunity. He's good friends with Austin Huff as well. They did Comedy Wars together at Mizzou, and check him out, support him. He's got a different style than I do, and that was one of the cool things about our movement in Columbia when we were in school there is we brought different things to the table. I was kind of the jock humorist, but not an asshole, hopefully. I mean, if people thought that, please let me know. I'd like to rectify it. And he was very intelligent, witty, and he was good at improv. He brings a different type of stand-up than the traditional piece. As you guys will see if you watch Conan, he introduced a thing at the end there that was a little bit different than your traditional stand-up. So I'm happy for him, and it's great to see him and Ryan Beck both have their national debuts before me. Congratulations, guys. So good stuff there. It's good to see Mizzou doing big things. What else is going on? I think I'll finish by talking about what's going on in my world, and then we'll call it a day. I think we're getting real close to the end here. My world is the last part of the podcast, and I save it for the end intentionally so that those of you that don't know me don't think, why is this guy talking about himself the whole time? And those of you that do know me and are interested, and we haven't had a chance to catch up on the phone lately, you're probably like, hey, I'm glad to get Mike's catch up here. I'm glad to hear about what's going on in Mike's life and really just sync up like it's some sort of an Apple phone getting a new update. This is our opportunity to share a couple things. I talked a little bit about most of my comedy stuff, but what else is going on in my world? 23andMe, right? I told you guys, I think today I had that DNA test that went back. Sent it in. That was one of my birthday presents. So now my parents had originally done Ancestry.com, I guess, or whatever it is, a few years ago, which is why I've known for a while at least one test results version of my DNA, but now 23andMe is a different one. It's more comprehensive. And for Christmas and my dad's birthday combined, me and my parents have all done 23andMe now. So I know a lot of where I'm from. I know that I'm 0.02-ish% African, sub-Saharan African, which is real African, baby. So yeah, I'm mostly European, 75%, and then Asian-ish, Filipino, aka blah blah blah. Some Native American in there that I didn't know before, so I'm excited about that because I love Native Americans. That sounds weird, but I feel like I want that. I want to be connected to the Native American culture spiritually. Like they respect the world. They respected the world and they were robbed, right? And I want to be connected to the world. I want to be connected to everybody, and a lot of people from Africa were robbed, obviously, as well, tying back to Black History Month. And the Jewish people were robbed. People have been robbed for centuries, as long as this world has gone on, which is terrible. And I want to make sure that I'm connected to everyone, and so that I can truly say we when I'm fighting for what's right, and know that I'm one with that, with all of us. I like being very diverse with my DNA, and it also gives me the opportunity to make fun of everybody. If I'm just up there, is this white guy? It's like, who is this guy making fun of everybody? But I'm not just a white dude. So I like that I'm not. I'm very excited. I was excited to know that I'm part black, baby. That's right, son. So anyway, I went to the Museum of Natural History this week. Checked it out. They have like a whole cultural section of like the different Neanderthals and all this stuff. I actually didn't go. I'm going to go back because you could get in for almost free. But I did check out the stuff about the solar system. I thought that was really interesting. So I educated myself on. I don't think we do that enough as adults. You do it when you're a kid. You go on field trips. You learn about this stuff because it's mandatory. But then you forget about syncing up on some of these things. Like I haven't looked at any new data on black holes in the last 5 years, or they've really. It was crazy to see how they've mapped out the universe so much more than I realized. I knew that the Milky Way galaxy, that we're part of the Milky Way galaxy, and that there's other galaxies out there, but they actually have not just mapped out the Milky Way galaxy and the stars and the solar systems within it, but they've mapped out a bunch of the universe, which is crazy. And they've learned so much more about black holes, and I watched how they even find a black hole, right? Because a black hole is obviously not going to show up in a telescope. It's not like something that just shows up and says, hey, I'm a black hole, right? It comes from, it causes light to bend. So they like compare slides of different pictures and see how the stars show up in like little different positions. And then they can like do these calculations to cross-reference the same star in the different positions from different angles or at different periods of time to show that the light had bent. So they can actually do calculations based on how far that star is away and how much the light positioning changed to decide how big this black hole is and what it is and all these things. So it's really interesting to hear about, the life cycles of stars. And in a way, it's like stars are people. When they call like people in Hollywood stars, I can see why they do that, because it's like a star shines brightly and it's in a world of its own, so it's kind of cool, when you're a kid and they say, hey, looking up that stars, that's grandma up there, or something like that. It's kind of a cute way it's a cute comparison, like a shining light. So I don't know. Whatever. Not whatever. It's cool. It is cool. I like it. I think stars are cool. Stars are cool. Makes my chili hot. That reference is from my man Caleb Medley. We always talk about keeping the chili hot. It's a Mizzou football thing. So that one's for you. Nobody else knows what I'm talking about right now, Caleb. I hope that makes your chili hot if you're listening. So yeah, other than that, I really don't have a ton. Jessica, we're still living together. We're dealing with the ups and the downs of our volatile relationship. It's just like the stock market. She hates me one day, she loves me the next. It's a really interesting thing. It's a electron nucleus deal. We're not in a relationship. However, if I talk to another girl, she'll flip out. So it's an interesting deal, Sometime we'll have to talk about this guy, Jacob Appel. I talked about it before. Jacob Appel, the guy on Netflix that's interested in Jessica, And I don't have any big updates for you, but I do know that the three of us want to hang out. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I can hear her talking now. I think she's on the phone with somebody. Who knows what the heaven she's doing. But whoever has been on this podcast for the last hour and 14 minutes on my YouTube live, I got one person who's tuned in. I just want to thank you. And every time I do this podcast, there's one person who's tuned in. I don't know who that is, and it's like a mystery. You know what I mean? There's one person silently watching. There's no message like, hey, how's it going? It's just one person silently watching. But I'm sure whoever that is awesome. And I appreciate the support. I really do. I love that. I love you. I love everyone, So I think if I had to take a guess, I'm going to guess it's my brother, though. That would be my most, if I had to take a wild guess, I would say it might be my bro. Judja. Jonathan, if that's you, I love you. And if it's not you, I love you, But, yeah. Anyway, that's the latest, guys. I hope everyone has a great week. Don't get the coronavirus. Go watch some good Hollywood movies. Check out Netflix. Educate yourselves, whatever, and then resist letting fear win, because fear is the enemy. I'm gonna leave you guys with the quote of Harriet Tubman there. Fear is the enemy. I think that's what her dad told her, actually, when she was leaving for her first journey north. So. And speaking of that, Philadelphia. I was in Philadelphia last weekend. That's where she went to get her freedom. And I knew I liked that city. Philadelphia, it's the land of brotherly love. I was there to help my friend Jimmy and his wife Chloe move. They moved to a new building there in Philadelphia, and I got to see them and their daughter Arlie. Very cute. And they really, we had the opportunity to hang out while pushing boxes around, and I just think Philadelphia is a great place. When you go there, the people are warm, they're nice, they're respectful, they're educated. There's a good warm vibe to Philly, even though it's dirty as fuck. Like, Philly is so dirty, but the people are warm, and that's awesome. I love that about it, and I love that Philadelphia was a free state. I love that Philadelphia was associated with that, And by the way, it's all about progress, guys. So, there's a lot of terrible things that have happened in history, but the people now may be completely embarrassed of what took place generations ago. So you can't judge a state that wasn't free at one point. It's all about people anyway, right? You got to judge how it's on an individual level. Every person is different, but there's a lot of people that may live in a state that wasn't free now that take a place in the South that is is on the right side of wanting to create positive change that may completely hate what their ancestors may have done. So yeah, that's what I'll leave you guys with, is that Harriet Tubman quote, which is fear is the enemy. And love, she was a godly woman. She believed in God, and her nickname was Moses. She followed the North Star. Speaking of stars, man, we're all this whole thing is like interconnected, bruh. It's like this podcast is saying like, what? It's like learning about the solar system earlier, talking about that. Yeah, she followed the North Star to Philly, baby. Took her north to freedom. So I think we're in a good place. Hopefully, we all feel good right now. If anyone's been holding in a nice dump so they can finish, I apologize for holding you hostage, but I appreciate you listening to the rest of this. You could always have just gone to the bathroom and taken a dump while we did this. But let's do it. Have a great week, and go to heaven, guys. Peace. Whoever's still there, thank you for tuning in. I am just, I'm closing it out now. So thanks again. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm tired. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's exhausting doing that. It requires energy. It's a performance, even if it doesn't seem like it is. So, all right. Well, thanks again. Have a happy Saturday.